What's up, guys? This video is for all of you guys that are thinking about doing something like what I've been doing for the last 2 years and 3 months. Essentially living a very nomadic type lifestyle. So this is an Airbnb. I booked this Airbnb this morning and I checked in a few hours later. And I do this all the time. And it made me think about like how, I guess, unique my lifestyle is, but how it's probably not for everyone. But I know a lot of people have the thought of doing something like this, coming to the Philippines or any other country and living a little bit nomadically, exploring, traveling, but also wanting to make friends, also wanting to meet someone. Like here in the Philippines, I think a ton of guys want to do what I'm doing, traveling around, motorbike tours, checking out beautiful nature, but also looking for a genuine relationship, thinking about the future. Maybe you're like me and you still have to earn an income, or maybe you're on a fixed income and you're retired and you have to factor in your budget and you're planning all this out. You're not sure yet, you're watching YouTube videos and you're thinking about how you want to plan your time here. Maybe you're coming here for a couple of weeks, maybe you're coming for a few months, or maybe you're coming for like, you're selling everything and you're moving here, but you're still trying to figure out what it's going to look like. Where am I going to live? Am I going to have a home base and then travel? Am I just going to do Airbnbs and hotels and travel around and then settle eventually? Maybe it's all an option. Maybe you're thinking about all of these things and you're trying to figure out what's going to make sense for you. And I think a lot of you will probably just take it day by day. And that's a little bit of what I've been doing for quite a while now, playing it by ear, day by day, week by week, and making the whole thing an adventure. So if you guys, I got my notes here, I'm just pulling them back up. I made a video a couple of months ago or 3 months ago, whenever it was, when I came back to the Philippines. I was on a mission. My mission was find a home base, get settled in, get a routine going, and then start traveling again. Like do a trip, make it a planned trip, and then come back. That was my plan. And in a nutshell, that's what I went after. I came to Dumaguete. I was looking around the whole area, Valencia, Darwin, Bacong, the main outskirts of Dumaguete. And one thing that I noticed right away, it didn't take long to realize, it's not going to be an easy thing to find that right place that you're going to get excited about, that the price is right, the location is right. This region of the Philippines is known for that. There's a ton of expats that live here. There's a housing shortage when it comes to like a certain standard that I think a lot of foreigners are looking for. So to find the perfect spot can be tricky. I eventually found this townhome kind of thing in Valencia. It was kind of off the main plaza area. Everything seemed great. And then it didn't work out, guys. It did not work out for a few reasons. There was one thing after another. And then when I talked to the owner about dealing with some of those things, it was an immediate not on the same page. It was a mutual agreement to get out of the lease. And I felt a relief, like just to not be there. And it was like a blessing in disguise. It was back to Airbnb, flexibility. And you know what? I'm okay with that. And that's what I want to get at. You might be okay with this kind of lifestyle. You might not be. I want to kind of go through what it's a day in a life. Like, what is it like to live out of a backpack? Like, let me show you what I have, guys. That is what I have. I have that bigger backpack, and then I have a smaller backpack. And I have one other duffel bag kind of thing with just some miscellaneous stuff that I'm not going to miss. And I leave it over at my friend's house. And it's not even that much, but it's more than I need, because I'm planning on doing some traveling again. I'm planning on hopping on the bike, doing this really epic motorbike tour. My plan was to get a home base, sign a lease, have a home base, go travel and come back. But then you really have to factor in, what is that costing you? You see how much I have. I don't have much stuff. It's like, am I gonna rent a place and then go travel for who knows how long just to leave a duffel bag? Like, it makes absolutely no sense in that regard. It does make sense to have a home base if you're going to stay there way more often, which could eventually make a lot of sense for me to spend more and more time in one place. But I still feel this urge and excitement about exploring, which brings me to this. And good morning, by the way. I just woke up. I forgot to say this when I recorded it last night, and I'm just doing some editing right now. A big part of this road trip, not only is it for adventure, but it's actually a perfect opportunity to check out other areas in the Philippines that could be potential home bases that either I would prefer, so when that day comes when I do want to spend more time in that one area and do less traveling, I'll know of the options that are out there. And it's a really great opportunity for me to learn about it so I can make videos about it for other people, because I know there's a lot of foreigners that want to consider other options besides the familiar ones that most people do. Cebu City, Dumaguete, BGC, and a few others that are really popular. There's a lot of other options, and some of them that I'm going to explore are off the beaten path. These aren't areas that are popular at all with foreigners, but they would likely bring a unique opportunity for foreigners if you're living in an area that's not saturated with expats. Take, for example, a city like Cagayan de Oro, CDO. There are foreigners that live there, but nothing compared to Cebu City or Dumaguete. And what does that do? Well, it gives you new pros and cons to consider. One of the pros in all likelihood would be it's probably a much better place to date and meet someone if you're in a city that isn't saturated and doesn't have a certain reputation in the dating community, the dating pool, that you could say about a place like Dumaguete. So stay tuned for these videos, guys. I'm gonna make a ton on that subject. All right, back to the original video where I'm now talking about what it really takes to enjoy the kind of lifestyle that I'm living here. So for me, I am very spontaneous by nature. I'm very flexible, go with the flow. I booked this place this morning and I checked in today. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to book a place. Let me hop on Airbnb. And I just booked it. And I just, grab my backpack and I go down the street and I'm in a new place. That's not for everyone. And the only way to do it is if you're very flexible, you're very, that stuff isn't going to make you feel anxious, or some people don't like that. And it also only works if you don't have a lot of stuff. So I'm very much a minimalist. That is not everyone's cup of tea at all. If you want to do this kind of thing, I think that's really the only way to do it, is keep your load light and just go with the flow. And I think the most important attribute that you have to have for this kind of lifestyle is a total sense of adventure. Like if you imagine yourself hopping on a motorbike and exploring areas you've never been before, and the unknown of what you're going to get into and who you're going to meet, if that excites you, then this kind of thing might be absolutely perfect for you. But there are drawbacks, guys. There's definitely drawbacks of this kind of lifestyle. Right off the bat, when you're staying short term and you're just booking 2 nights here, 5 nights there, that short term Airbnb rate is going to be a lot more when you add that up for a whole month, of course, than it is signing a lease, doing a 12-month lease in one place. You're going to be able to stay in a nicer place for less. Like this is $22 a night. It's a studio. It's fine. It's like a hotel room. There's actually a little kitchenette behind me. They have a restaurant. It's called Miguel's Place, I think it is, in Dumaguete. It's the first time I've stayed here. It's actually quite nice. $22 is not bad. You don't have to pay for electricity when you do Airbnb. That's one of the pros. A lot of Airbnbs, it could be $30 a night. I've stayed in plenty that are $35 or even $40. Really depends. Depends on where you are. Depends on what you want. If you're in the city and you want something really nice with amenities, it can get up there. It's definitely going to be usually a decent amount more than staying in one place. But you have the flexibility and you can be wherever you want to be. So that's the benefit of that. But of course, there's travel expenses, there's flights. You might stay in a resort every once in a while. You might do some sort of tour or activity. You're eating out all the time, as opposed to if you had your house and if you were cooking, or if you had someone cooking for you, of course, that would be cheaper. I would say on average for me, anywhere between $2,000 and $2,500 a month will do me just fine for this kind of lifestyle. Some other drawbacks to this kind of lifestyle, guys, that I think are really important. I've talked about it on my channel as well. So being a single guy and looking for the right match, looking for a genuine relationship, if you are the guy that does want to come to the Philippines and hunker down, stay in one place, have an address, have a routine, start to meet people, network, and live a very simple, safe, secure life in one place, and you have your shit together and you're a nice guy and you're looking for a genuine partner, you having stability, consistency, and all of that stuff, like the opposite of what I'm talking about, the pool of Filipinas is going to be much bigger. Like the pool of Filipinas that will be interested in a guy like you is going to be much bigger. I think that's probably the same anywhere in the world. I think most women like that. Most women like consistency, safety, security, predictability, have more of a home base and a life around a home. That's just going to, and especially here, it's just going to attract way more women. And a certain type of Filipina, I think in most cases, a really good, genuine girl that I think a lot of guys are going for, they might like the idea of traveling. But if traveling and uncertainty and bouncing around is sort of like what you come out of the gates with and how you present yourself, it is going to scare a lot of Filipinas. It's going to make them a little bit unsure of you, at least at first, and it's going to require a lot more time to sort of build a connection and trust and understanding of who you are, and then the whole timing of things, of being able to form a relationship with someone. If you are not in one place and you're not sure where you're going to be in a week, and you meet a really amazing girl who lives in one place and maybe her family's in that area, or maybe she's working there, probably more likely that's where her life is, you can imagine the complications of like saying, she's like, hey, where are you from? Where do you live? And you can't give a really good answer because you don't have an actual home, and you're just like, well, tonight I'm here, tomorrow I'm over there, and next week I'm on another island, but I'll probably be coming back. Like, if that's your plan, now you might be able to change that plan, of course, if you meet someone, but when they ask you when you meet them, you have to give them some answer. And that at that moment, your answer might be just wide open and unsure because you don't have a set routine and a set life. So I think you know what I'm getting at. And it's going to definitely create challenges. That's a big part of, I'm well aware of the situation I put myself in. I have created on my own, my fault, what I choose, I should say, I end up with a smaller dating pool with my lifestyle and the type of Filipina that I'm looking for. So I am drawn to a girl who is working and is responsible. And that the last girl that I was with for the last few months, that's a video in itself. She was very committed to her job, very responsible, worked very hard, graduated and did nothing but work for several years to get herself into a position where, she was doing very well at her job. She loved the idea of traveling and she loved the lifestyle that I was living, but there was always a bit of a fear of actually doing it. And so in the end, among some other things, decided best to put the brakes on things. We ended up not totally being on the same page of what we were looking for ultimately in a relationship. Really cool girl, and who knows what the future holds. There's really so much more to it than that I'm just not going to get into for this video, but I wanted to make the point of sharing my lifestyle, sharing the pros, sharing some of the disadvantages of this lifestyle to give you a sense of what to expect. I'll tell you this, if you are just looking to travel and have fun and you're not worried about who you date and who you travel with, and even if it's short term, and you're just not going to overthink it or care, it's really not a concern here to meet someone and have a really good time and travel with someone, even if you don't see a future with that person, and maybe they don't see a future either and they're just enjoying in the moment. There's a lot of different variables that could lead to you finding someone to enjoy that lifestyle with. But I also know that there is a type of Filipina here that you can see as a compatible long-term relationship, someone that also would like to share that lifestyle of traveling, or like this hybrid mix, which is my ultimate goal, have the home base and then travel once in a while and do it with a partner. That is sort of the vision that I have in a relationship. And I know there are Filipinas that share that same vision for sure, but it's gonna be trickier. It's gonna be more, timing has to be right. Another thing for another video, guys, but I just wanna point this out. This is huge. So combining the stability factor, like the guys that wanna have the place, build a home, live in one place, if that guy also is very motivated to find someone and get married, and on top of that wants to have kids, if a guy can honestly say to a Filipina, I want marriage, I want kids, I want to build a home, I want to buy a home, I want to live here in this one place, if that is your package, and if that is what you're coming with, that's what you're bringing, you are the jackpot, you are the prize, you are in high demand. Your pool is huge, it's massive. The dating pool, the relationship pool, is very large. The age range is large. The beauty factor is large. The education level, all of it. And you're a nice guy, you're a gentleman, you're respectful. And believe it or not, it doesn't really matter that much if you're good looking, in shape. Sure, they'll date a handsome guy that's in shape and be real excited about it. But if you bring those things, you want marriage, you want kids, you want stability, you want a house, you have that dream, and you share that and put it out there, girls that are normally out of your league will look at you as, wow, that's like my dream. I'm very interested in you. So definitely keep that in mind when you're coming here. Oh, and also keep in mind, you are attracting everything, good and bad. So as much as you're gonna have way more good options, you're also going to attract way more not so good options. So beware. If you're the guy that does not want kids and you're undecided, and let's say you don't want a girl with kids, that pool is shrinking big time, really, really small at that point. So just be aware that Filipinas either have kids or want kids in most cases. So keep that in mind too, in addition to what I'm talking about, this sort of free-flowing travel, nomadic type lifestyle is going to create challenges when it comes to finding someone. You're just going to have to be really patient and open-minded before the right thing comes around. And let me say this before I forget. The type of girl that I think a lot of guys want, the kind of girl that you can really see yourself with, a lot of times these girls, they're not desperate and they're not throwing themselves at guys. And usually that they don't do that at all. And in many cases, they're not even looking, like they're not just so focused on finding a foreigner. That type of girl is often focused on other things. Sure, is she open to being with a foreigner? Absolutely. But she's a little more cautious. She's taking her time. She's not ripping her clothes off the moment she meets you. She wants to go slower and she wants to get to know you more. She wants to build trust and understanding of what your intentions are first. So if you want to live a little bit of the lifestyle that I'm currently living, you need to be extra patient and extra understanding that you're going to have to take time to meet the right one. And if you meet someone that's really cool and your schedules don't match and your lifestyle doesn't match, it doesn't mean it can't work, but that might be months in the making before it actually turns into something. It could mean that you end up staying in one place for a while and you just get rid of the plan of doing traveling and you just hunker down somewhere, and while she works, you just hang out on a little bit of free time that she has. Or you do the traveling, do the things you want to do, and you just stay in touch with that person and you just chat with them online, do some video calls, and then when the time is right, you circle back, you make a plan to see them. It's different here when it comes to that. In the West, we're used to things happening a little bit quicker. We're used to dating. Let's meet for happy hour. Let's grab a beer. It's all quicker. Both people have cars. It's flexible. It's easy. It's not like that here. And also, they're going to feel a little bit reluctant to do that anyways when they have their commitment and priority being their work. A lot of that money could be going to the family. They get tired after a long day and they'll feel obligated to get back to where they're staying. It is a slow process. That's what I'm getting at. And so living nomadically, there's just a lot of variables and barriers to making those connections in the first place, not scaring them away in the first place. But if you build a connection, it can just take a lot more time for things to come around before it starts to really blossom into a relationship. Oh, I forgot to make a really important point about this, because maybe you were thinking it when you were watching this video, or you've seen other videos that talk about it, how you can just replace someone's income. You can have them leave their job, and yeah, the amount that they're getting paid in a lot of cases won't be hard for you to just replace that. But that's not something to take lightly for a lot of reasons, whether it be a simple job or a career type of job. You don't want to just suggest that too soon, because not only are there practical aspects of it, of, if it doesn't work out and you realize after a month you're not as compatible as you were hoping, you have the logistical aspect of getting that person back into the job that they had. What does that leave her in the social aspect of it, the community that she's going back to, that she quit that job? Now, what does she go back there and say, yeah, it didn't work out? You have the embarrassment perhaps of people gossiping about it. That's a huge thing, especially in the province. You have the emotional aspect of it, where someone took a leap of faith for you and hope that this relationship's gonna turn into a long-term, in marriage and all that stuff. I think you have to be extra careful with that. You don't want to take that lightly, guys, even if you can afford it, because of these repercussions. All the more reason to take your time, make sure it's the right thing before the two of you, make a plan for something like that. Big point to make with this though, guys, is that even if she is working a simple job, not making a lot of money, it does not mean that she is going to just jump on that opportunity to quit her job and start a relationship with you. In all likelihood, she is still going to be cautious. She is still going to keep her focus and priority on that job that she has, that money that she's making. A little bit's for her, some of it goes to the family, and she's going to want to take her time making sure it's the right decision before she quits that job. So it definitely goes both ways. How long that takes to get to a point where you both feel it's comfortable to do something like that, it's case by case. It depends on the comfort level. I think the main thing would be, if you do that, you really need to be clear and upfront about the possibility of things not working out and what it would look like at the end to get things back to a place where both people are comfortable and happy. That's not an easy conversation to have when things are going good. to talk about, yeah, this might not work out. There should be a plan laid out. There probably should be some sort of financial element to make sure that person has what they need to get their feet back under them and make sure they're comfortable with the idea of them going back to where it all started before you took that leap of faith and had her leave her job. Anyways, I thought it was important to add that part to the video. Back to the original. I am learning this as I go, guys, through my own experiences, because I'm living this lifestyle, through other people that I'm talking to. This kind of stuff comes up all the time. We talk about it all the time. Oh, another thing that I've noticed when I did a lot of traveling before, being productive when you're out on the road and you're bouncing around from one place to another, it really interferes with productivity and focus. And that routine and being in one place allows you to get so much more done, way more productive, way more clear-headed of like what you're doing each day, as opposed to constantly making decisions of where you're going and all that stuff. These are big drawbacks, and I'm well aware of it. So with me taking off again, I'm really thinking about like the plan, where I'm going, and then getting to a place where I can get some routine going again and be productive. So basically have a set time where you're going to be on the road and doing things, and then schedule some time in a certain place where you can hunker down for a while and just get some stuff done. I think that's so important to have that time, that stationary time in any given place. If you come across a place you're comfortable in, the internet's good, just kind of relax, hang out, get stuff done. There might be a fitness center in the area. And when you do stay in one place, those are all golden opportunities to potentially meet someone in that area too. You start going to a coffee shop every morning. Maybe there's someone there working. You start chatting with that person. You get to know them during the week that you're there. It could change the course of your whole trip. If it's someone that you're like, wow, this person's amazing, you stay there a little longer, or you take off, but you stay in touch, like I was talking about before, and you let things sort of grow slowly. You continue traveling, and then one day maybe you circle back and meet up with that person. There's so many random opportunities wherever you go. I think the main thing is just knowing that it's not going to happen quick. If you're looking for a good girl and she's working at that coffee shop and you want to go travel, you can't just leave the coffee shop, not show up for work, and be your girlfriend. I think that pretty much makes sense. Anyways, here we go. Let's finish with this. The pros and advantages of living in this lifestyle. Despite the drawbacks, there's a big reason why I continue to want to go down this path of adventure and exploring. As much as that makes me get in my own way of some of the other things that I want, I still feel strongly about continuing to live this lifestyle, staying free, staying flexible, not having a ton of stuff weighing me down, and being able to plan and get excited about adventures and going to different places. For me, the feeling of freedom, it's like such an amazing feeling. Going from commitment and bills and everything I had going on back in the US, where I didn't feel just free to do whatever I wanted because of budget and because of just commitments and stuff like that. And I wasn't even like overly committed like some guys are. I didn't like it. And I didn't like the monotony either. I didn't like that feeling of doing the same thing. So having that freedom and being able to take advantage of it in a place like this, where the cost is low, where there's endless places to go and travel and explore, where you feel safe, where you feel welcome, and more importantly, where there's these unexpected things that happen, where you meet people that you never would have met otherwise, where you make really cool connections with people, have amazing experiences with people, doing really unique things. The memories that I have of the time that I've been in the Philippines, the ones that really stand out to me are when I'm out adventuring. They're when I'm out doing incredible stuff. Whether I'm out in some beautiful nature place or I'm in just some random, small province town, but I'm having some sort of cool interaction or cool experience. That's the stuff that stands out to me. But it's important to note that I've done a lot of it solo and stretches of time where I'm traveling solo. Over time, that does start to get to me for sure. It's way better, in my opinion, to share these experiences with someone, whether it be a buddy, a girlfriend, some sort of friend, or even people that you meet along the way that you know you're not going to see again, but to enjoy it with other people. Everybody is different with that. There are definitely guys I've talked to that they tell me I have no problem being on my own for periods of time and have no issue with it. So to each their own on that. But for me, I think experiences are best when you can share them with people that, especially people that you care about. Anyways, guys, it's a random video. I just thought of this when I was checking out and checking into this place. It sparked the idea of, wow, I really do live a kind of spontaneous lifestyle. And I thought this might be something worth talking about, to share some of the pros and the cons and some things to think about to see if it's a good fit for you, or to just get you excited about the possibilities of living this kind of lifestyle here in the Philippines. I'm psyched. I can't wait. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon.